So after I did end up playing a lot of Dirt 3, one thing popped right into my head, and that was the fact of how is Dirt 3 compared to Dirt 4, and which game is honestly better? The first thing I do want to mention here is, to be honest guys, I had a really hard decision here to really pick a certain game over the other one. Like, is Dirt 3 really going to be better than Dirt 4, or is Dirt 4 going to be better than Dirt 3, right? I kind of was looking at this going, you know what, well, each game really is going to offer overall different experiences that I feel like are going to be fun in their own aspects. One thing I was really liking about both games is I feel like if you're looking for an arcade, maybe like a simcade type of racing game, I guess you could say, on the dirt side of it, you know, because it's called Dirt, then you would most likely enjoy either one of these games. But one thing I was really thinking about, though, is one of the reasons why I did want to put Dirt 3 and Dirt 4 together is I feel like in some ways they are going to be fairly similar. For one, both games are going to be pretty much focused on rally more than anything else, and on top of that, they're also going to have the stadium trucks and those little looking buggies as well. I do know Dirt 4 is going to have these super small buggies, but let's be real, a lot of people probably use the other buggies more than that, which I was like, oh, this was also going to be in Dirt 3, so that kind of did end up being similar. We're also then going to have something like the Trailblazer that was in Dirt 3 that wasn't in 4. So yeah, both games are still going to be a tad different than each other. But here's the insane part though. One thing that really did surprise me a lot about Dirt 4 and Dirt 3 is my favorite part about both games is probably not going to be all that surprising, but it was specifically going to be the rally part. I did also enjoy the rallycross, but for some odd reason though, I really did enjoy the rally part of it with exploring the different stages and messing around and stuff with different vehicles. That for me was probably going to be my favorite part about both games, which funnily enough I feel like Dirt 3 and 4 kind of focused on rally more than anything else, and I feel like a lot of people seem to be happy about that. Now keep in mind guys, this is coming from someone that was a huge fan of Dirt 2. Even for me, that's probably still going to be one of my favorite games in the entire series. I'm probably going to talk about every game in this series in a separate video, but overall, though, I love Dirt 2. I did like how they had the real trophy trucks in there and Class 1 buggies. And we're also going to have Raid and stuff like that, which Raid was also in Dirt 3. But it didn't feel as utilized as it was in Dirt 2. So again, they kind of focused on rally and stuff like that, which is not a bad thing, as I really did enjoy it. But I also really did like how in Dirt 2 they had the trophy trucks. And in ways, I do feel like that was probably a mixed type of thing to really have the gameplay having different aspects to it. And then a lot of people are probably wanting more rally stuff, which I would say for a rally type of game or dirt or stuff like that, like Dirt Rally and all that, people probably do enjoy that more than anything else, so I do understand it. And I feel like Dirt 4 and Dirt 3 did a really great job. And when it does come to rally alone, guys, I really don't know if I can pick a winner here. One thing I really did like about Dirt 4, I don't know if it's going to be in 3, but in Dirt 4 though, there's going to be like a random generator thing. You can have like complexity and then also like how long you want the stage. You can hit generate, you can have rain, you can have like regular snow, obviously depending on where you are. You can also have like a sunny day, partly cloudy. I thought that was a really cool feature and something that really did suck me into Dirt 4, because you can have like 5 or 6 different stages, longer races and stuff like that is very cool, and how you can generate them. And speaking of generating the stages though, that's one thing I also really do love about Dirt 3 and 4, guys. Let me know your thoughts on this in the comments below, by the way. I really do like the locations here in Dirt 3 and 4. For example, in Dirt 4 we have Australia, we're going to have Spain, we also have Sweden, we have Michigan, and also I believe the other one is Poland as well, which is going to be very cool, pretty much adding on even more locations, stuff like that that you can race in. But with that, I also did like how Dirt 3 did end up doing it, adding even more different locations to the game. One of which I really did like was going to be Finland. I did like the maps on there. We also had Michigan and stuff. We're then going to have Norway, which pretty much put you into the snow and all that. It was a really fun area to race in. Then we're also going to have like Kenya, which pretty much had like a desert type. Really did like that location a lot because it pretty much brought me right back to Dirt 2. The other part I did like about both games though is also going to come down to the first person or cockpit view, I guess however you want to say that, tomato tomato. Either way, I think Dirt 3 and Dirt 4 absolutely killed killed the cockpit view, guys, on both games. I mean, driving different cars and looking at the detail of the cockpit view, they really always did such a great job in these games. Like, even all the way back to Dirt 1, man, I feel like the cockpit view in all of these games were great. I do like the way how the mirrors are going to be very clear. They're not going to be, like, choppy or weird looking. Like, you can clearly see cars behind you and stuff. It's going to be, like, a clear version, or I guess you could say a better version of what you would see in other games when it does come to the mirrors. You're also going to see the nice detail of the cars and stuff like that. So I think they absolutely nailed it basically in both games. So I really don't think a point could go to either game here in the cockpit part, as I feel like both games are great. Now, the next thing I also did want to do here is going to be putting pretty much Rally together, pretty much side by side on both games, to show you guys that and talk about a couple of things. And that is something I did want to discuss, though, because again, these games really were going to be mainly focused on Rally. I mean, heck, on the back of the case of Dirt 3, it even says we're going to have more Rally events than ever. So they were kind of focusing on that pretty hard. And again, I can't blame them, as a lot of people love it. And I feel like that was probably one of the best ways to do it. Both games are both going to also have really good weather, whether that's going to be rain or like a nice sunshine and also partly cloudy. So you are going to get both aspects on top of that there. And I feel like when it does come to the stage design, guys, I really do love the way they have this designed again. Both games really are going to scratch that itch. Like, I really don't know if I could pick one game better than the other. I think both games have good handling. I would also say that's going to be subjective, though. Let me know your thoughts on that in the comments below. Which game did you guys like the handling in more, Dirt 3 or Dirt 4? Looking forward to seeing what you guys say. I would say for me, I don't know how people are going to take it, but I think I might have enjoyed Dirt 4 just a little bit more than Dirt 3, at least when it does come to the handling and stuff like that in both games. I do know Dirt 3 was going to be a bit older, so maybe that played an aspect to it. Maybe Dirt 4 was going to be upgraded and stuff like that, and it played a bit better. With that being said, though, the other thing I would say that was going to be fairly similar, guys, I was really trying to find more differences here when it does come to, like, the sense of speed in both games. And you know what? I feel like they are going to be fairly similar to each other a lot more than I thought they were going to be. Because I was kind of thinking that maybe 80 miles an hour was going to be, like, really quick or something. I think it might be maybe a tad faster in Dirt 3, but I'm not 100% sure. Do let me know your thoughts on that in the comments. Either way, though, I do like the way both games are going to flow. And even in Dirt 4, doing like 70, 80 miles an hour, you're still going to feel like you're moving. Even though in some other games, you can kind of feel like you're basically not going anywhere. Like, the sense of speed isn't great. So I do feel like Dirt 3 and 4 also did a great job in the overall sense of speed in the game, which I would say a lot of people are going to enjoy. Now, the one thing Dirt 3 is going to have that I really wish 4 did end up having is going to be the Trailblazer, which are going to be very fast cars that also Dirt 2 and Dirt 1 had. So I was kind of surprised that Dirt 4 did not have this class at all, but then again, it was going to be mainly focused on Rally and Rallycross, so I kind of see where they were going with that. They probably wanted to remove that and keep the other things in there. Kind of stay true to the overall Rally thing that was in the game, and most likely what a lot of people did end up wanting, similar to Dirt 3, because I have been seeing a lot of comments going, yo, I really do like the fact that Dirt 3 is going to have more Rally stuff. Dirt 4 did it, so I would also say that is going to be a win in that aspect. Even though the only issue there, though, is if you are going to be into the other classes, like, for example, in Trailblazer, maybe you're like me, you like Land Rush, like the trophy trucks, you are most likely going to have less of options with those classes if you were to play something like Dirt 4, which, again, I feel like it's probably going to be maybe a subjective type of thing, maybe what you're into, maybe what you want to do more and stuff. But either way, guys, I feel like both games are going to offer really fun gameplay experiences, and I have been going back and kind of playing both back and forth, and it really is hard for me to decide which game is better, man. Like, I know that might sound stupid. Also, I do understand Dirt 3 is going to have the Gymkhana thing. Do let me know your thoughts on that entire game mode in the comments. Like, you gotta jump around, you gotta hit the things, you gotta drift, you gotta, like, drift under, like, a truck and stuff like that. Do let me know what y'all think about it. And I would say the overall Gymkhana thing really fit Dirt 3, am I right? Like, seeing something like Gymkhana and Dirt 4 probably wouldn't have really fit it with what they were aiming for. So I would probably say that is most likely going to make sense there. Overall, though, if I had to go back and forth and play each game and kind of pick one, I really don't know how I would do it, as I am genuinely enjoying both games pretty much to a T now. When I was playing Dirt 4 for a bit, I was kind of annoyed with the handling, but the more I started playing the game, guys, and kind of getting used to it, I really did start to enjoy it more, and I kind of got used to the way the cars did handle, the way they pretty much turned and stuff. And Dirt 3, I was noticing it was a bit twitchy in some areas until I started to get used to it. But that will also not be like an issue there, and kind of just like a me thing trying to get used to the games and all that from going back and forth to them. One thing I also got to admit, guys, I think both games did a really good job at the snow part. It's kind of funny because when I was first thinking about this video and kind of going over things, I was like, well, maybe it's going to be a Dirt 3 versus Dirt 4. But honestly, it's kind of like a which game is going to be better at first. And I was like, nah, both games are going to be great. Let's kind of compare them. Good things and bad things on both games, and which game maybe overall might take the crown. But honestly, they really are both going to offer so many different things. I think they did a great job with the snow. I really do like the way that it looks. Now, Dirt 3 is also going to have the rallycross races that are going to be in the snow. Dirt 4 really isn't going to have much of any of those, which isn't really that big of a deal, but I would say it kind of does depend. Like, not everybody's going to care about snow. I do understand that was a big thing with Dirt 3. They were trying to show the snow off and all that stuff, and we all do know that Dirt 2 did not have snow. So, yeah, that was going to be a pretty dope aspect. Both games are going to have rally stages in the snow, which I genuinely enjoyed both of them so dang much. As not only that, both games are going to look fantastic. I do know Dirt 4 is older, but for Dirt 3 being older, man, I really feel like this game holds up very well and still looks so dang good. So my biggest question to you guys is, which game do you guys think is better, or which game did you really enjoy more, Dirt 3 or Dirt 4? To be honest, if I had to choose, I really don't know which game I would pick that would win over the other one, as well. To be honest, I enjoyed both of them so dang much.